Without further delay, please allow me to welcome our eminent and distinguished speaker of tonight, Sahil Saini. Sahil is a seasoned product leader with 8+ years of experience. He's a senior product manager at OLX Group and has earlier worked at Freecharge, Square Yards, Office, and Tata Group. He is an alumnus of IIFT. A very warm welcome to you, Sahil. We are thrilled to have you here with us tonight. Handing the session over to you now.
Thank you, Shama. Thanks a lot. Thank you. As well as I would like to extend my vote of thanks to Institute of Product Leadership for giving me an opportunity to interact with aspiring product managers. I always am very much excited about interacting with aspiring and current product managers. I guess let's get started. Let me share my screen.
Sure. Like we discussed, Sahil, while you share your screen, I'll take a quick poll with the audience just to understand where they come from and the number of years of experience that they have. So that will help you align your talk accordingly. So folks, take this poll on your screen. This is the first question. What describes your present role? Let us know the industry that you come from and the role that you perform at the moment. Sahil, I hope you also can see the poll while the audience is casting the vote.
I think I've shared my screen.
Okay.
Yeah, I can see the poll. Yeah.
Okay. So I think this is a good mix here today. So we have almost from every area. We have product managers, engineers, business analysts. It's all in equal percentage.
That's quite great.
Right. So moving on to the next one quickly. What is your total industry experience? All right. This is again a good mix. Sahil, can you see the results?
Unfortunately, no, I'm not able to view the results.
Now?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, that's lovely. I think that's a good mix of folks, right from 0 to 15 years of experience, 15+ years of experience. That's great. And I think the highest number of folks which we have is between 0 to 5 years. And yes. Equally distributed across other age groups, experience groups as well.
You can begin now, Sahil, all yours.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. So very good evening, everyone. Today's topic is essential skills all product managers must master. I'll just a second. Yeah. So very quickly, I think Shamil already introduced myself. I'll just give you a quick brief. So my name is Sahil Saini. Currently work as a senior PM at OLX Group. I am a seasoned product leader with 9 years of experience. Currently working as a senior PM at OLX Group. In the past, I worked with Freecharge, Square Yards, Office, and Tata Group. Within OLX, currently I'm leading the online checkout and the post-transaction experience for buyers of pre-owned cars at OLX Autos. Before this role of mine, I worked at Freecharge and I have launched the buy now pay later product called Freecharge Pay Later, as well as the lending platform from scratch at Freecharge. I am an active angel investor as well as a product mentor, coach, and consultant. Really excited to be here today. Okay, so let's jump into our agenda for today's talk. So we'll be speaking more about and understanding more about what are the top hard skills for product managers and how to master these. I think that is something which you all would definitely be more interested in. What are the top soft skills for product managers? And similarly, how can we go about developing those skills? Finally, I'll be also throwing some light on what are the different PM career levels and which skills matter at, as you move up the ladder in your role and career as a product manager. And at the end, I'll be happy to answer and take any Q&A. Okay. Okay, so let's jump right into the hard skills. So the number one hard skill, or I think one of the most important skill, which I feel for a product managers to have, is the ability of problem solving, right? So how can you solve a complex, unstructured problem, right? That is very important. And, I get a lot of questions from people who want to, and aspirants who want to break into product management, and they come from all previous I would say backgrounds. Some of them are BCom graduates, some of them are engineers, some of them are into marketing, some of them are into data analytics, some of them are into sales. So see, my key take here is that irrespective of your background, you can break into product management. And I've myself seen a lot of candidates coming from varied background, getting into product management and working as a product manager, not only in startups and Indian-based companies, but also in FANGs, right? So I think a key skill which differentiates good product manager from an average one is his ability of problem solving and critical thinking, right? So how do you master this skill, right? So I think it's very important for you as a product manager that you basically think about solving the problem with respect to the first principle thinking, right? So what do you mean by first principle thinking? The first principle thinking means that if you are given a complex, unstructured problem, you break it down into pieces, right? You basically backtrack it and come back to the initial step, wherein you try to identify that what is, or why are you going to what is the problem, and even why are you going to solve this problem, right? So that is crucial, right? It is very important for you as a product manager to not get obsessed about solutions, right? But to fall in love with the problem. The bigger the problem is, the more uh, I would say, the more interesting it becomes for a PM, right? Then how do you move and identify your problem space, and how do you move from a problem space to solution space, right? Now there are multiple frameworks which can help you guide towards problem solving. One of the popular frameworks is the circles method given by Lewis Flynn. You can read his book called Decode and Conquer to know more about it. Then there is this wonderful book by Teresa Torch called Continuous Discovery Habits, which also is a very good resource for developing the ability of problem solving, especially with respect to digital products. Okay. Okay. So the next important hard skills for the product managers to develop is customer empathy, right? So how can you become a customer advocate, right? So I think a customer first approach should be your principle as a PM. Whenever you are thinking of any problem, any solution, right? Whenever you're thinking of any kind of a trade-off between different solutions, right? The product manager is the customer advocate within an organization, right? So whenever you join an organization as a PM, you will see that there will always be a tussle between putting the business interest first, as well as vis-a-vis the customer experience, right? So it is very important for a product manager to maintain a balance between the right customer experience, as well as to make sure that the business viability is also very much there. But as a PM, you have to be the one representing the customer voice, right? Now, how do you master customer empathy, right? So I think the only way for you to polish and develop the skills is talking to customers, and talk to your customers frequently, put up a weekly cadence. It's very important, right? 360-degree vision, right? So see, as a product manager, our area of responsibility doesn't end and begin with the time frame or the experience within which the customer is interacting with our product. It actually starts much earlier and ends much later, right? So you have to think about the customer experience before, while, and after customers interact with your product, right? So example, if you are working as a product manager in Amazon, right? I mean, your or in I would say in Amazon is a large organization, but let's say if you are working in a small startup which is into e-commerce, grocery delivery or e-commerce, right? As a product manager, you have to make sure that not only your online ordering, search, payment experience, checkout experience is perfect, but also your offline experience, right? Your delivery experience is super notch, right? Your returns experience is great, right? Uh, Another important thing which I want to mention here is that generally what happens is when we hear the term customers, we only relate to end customers, right? But customers can be both internal and external. They can be internal customers also in your organization, or internal stakeholders who would be using your product, right? So for example, if you are developing an internal tool, if you are developing an operational panel tool as an internal PM, and this operational panel will be used by our operations team of, or if you are working on a CRM product and this product would be used by your sales team, then you have to listen to them, right? You have to always think of how can I make the life of this person easier. Okay. uh, Another important point which I want to mention here is that you have to be the power user of your own product, right? Especially if it's a B2C product. I mean, do use your product. I mean, I don't have to say this, but I have seen, product managers not using or not being the power user of their own product. And I think, if you are a power user of your product, I think half of the job is already done, right? Always look for inspiration, always look for playing with other products, other apps, right? To discover the user experience, right? I mean, product management is always evolving, right? The user experience of Cred or Clubhouse or apps like Slack is something which has shaped an entire uh, industry, right? Another important thing which want to highlight here is that you need to understand customer behavior psychology, right? How can you build products which can actually help in building a habit for the customer? And I think if you can do that, then it's super awesome, right? So few books I'll suggest for building customer empathy: Hooked by Neil Ayal, Design of Everyday Things by Don Norman, and Inspired by Marty Kagan. Right? These are classic books. Please go through them. Okay, the next hard skill is product craft. So, I mean, your deliverables as a product manager, right? How can you improve upon giving your best, and how can you improve upon how do you discover a problem, how do you discover a product, and how you work up and go about delivering it, right? Now how do you master it, right? I mean, you need to get your hands dirty, you need to get hands on with wireframing, with prototyping, with road mapping, with writing PRDs, right? Also, it becomes important that especially the most important tools you get yourself acquainted to, right? For example, Miro, it's a great tool for brainstorming and collaboration. Balsamic for wireframing, InVision for prototyping, Jira for agile project management, uh, and then analytics tool like Google Analytics, Adobe Analytics, Optimizely for A/B testing, right? So, I mean, this is something which you would be required to do in your day-to-day life, like writing concept notes, PRDs, right? So always focus on how can you become better at writing your PRDs and concept notes, right? Then showcase your projects, right? And especially, I think there are few folks today in audience who would not be into a current PM, and they would be aspiring PM. So how do you, as an aspiring PM, show these skills, or specifically the product craft? So you need to develop a product portfolio, right? It can be as simple as a folder, which is a shared folder on Google Drive, wherein you can keep all your case studies which you have done, right? The product tear downs, wireframes, prototypes which you have developed, right? A very good way in which you can show a hiring manager, your ability of executing things. And I think this is, if you are aspiring for an APM or an entry level PM kind of a role, this is the most important skill, right? Because execution is something which everybody would expect you to take care of. Okay. Yeah. So business understanding, right? So I mean, we all have seen the classic Venn diagram of product manager, lying between the intersection of business, technology, and user experience and customer. So obviously, a business understanding is super important. And by business understanding, I not only mean that how does your company operate, how does it make profit and revenue, which are your top products, right? But also try to understand what your company vision is, what's the vision of the company for the, let's say, long-term vision is for 5 years or for the decade, right? Now, how does it help you or affect you? So see, as a product manager, we don't create products in silos or in isolation, right? We have to drive our product vision from the company vision, right? And then we have to drive our product strategy from the product vision, right? Now, as a PM, you need to select a goal or outcome which impacts the product vision the most, right? It's all about prioritization, and I'll also speak about prioritization later. Your product initiatives, the problems you choose to solve, should directly impact the selected goal or outcome, right? I mean, I think this is super important. I mean, you always, let's say if you have 4 problems to pick, or 4 problem areas to work upon, pick the one which has the maximum impact on your selected goal or outcome, right? Now that the goal can be a product goal, like achieving growth, or focusing on acquisition, or it can be towards increasing engagement, increasing retention, or towards a monetization goal, right? So ultimately, if the product initiatives and problems which you are solving is having a direct impact on the selected goal and outcome, then it will also have an impact on your product vision as well, right? It will take your product towards that direction, right? Talk to your business stakeholders, understand the revenue, right? What are the profit levels for your organization? What are the cost levels for your organization? Okay, risk mitigation. Yep. So see, product management is a lot about risk management, and especially in today's time when the cost of building and shipping a software has increased phenomenally, right? I mean, dev cost is super high nowadays, and nobody wants to be a PM wherein they basically launch a product, and after let's say 3 quarters or 6 months down the line, you figure out that nobody is using your product, right? So it's all about product management, is all about risk management, right? So as a PM, we do risk management during product discovery, and we try to address and mitigate 4 critical risks. The first is the value risk, right? Now, will the customer buy this or choose to use it, right? The usability risk, can the user figure out how to use it? I mean, let's say if we have developed an application or a flow, right, without explicitly telling the user how to move forward, can he himself figure it out, that what is this product intended for, how to navigate, what is the end objective for him? Can we build it? Feasibility risk is more from technical feasibility. Do we have the technical resources at hand? Do we have the technical capability? Are we willing to invest so much of technical resources in building this functionality or feature? Does this solution works for our business viability? Uh, are we going to generate any revenue out of it, or business, we can have a separate business goal towards achieving growth or acquiring more customers? So does this solution help us with that or not? Right. So I think it's very important for product managers to figure out what not to build uh, as compared to what to build, right? I mean, I see a lot of product managers, especially who start their product journey, and obviously, they are very much curious about shipping things and all, right? And they do end up, building products, launching features which nobody use, right? So it's very important for you to take some time, do a very good, I would say, continuous discovery process, wherein you figure out by either validating your assumptions or hypothesis, or building a small MVP, testing it out, gathering feedback, and then moving ahead, and just not launch a very bulky feature, right? I think this is something which will come to you with experience and practice, right? Okay, now T-shaped profile, right? So see, as a PM, you should always focus on developing multiple skills, right? You need to have a broader skill set with you, right? So I always say that as a PM, we always need to be, you know, try to achieve that T-shaped profile. What it means is that, let's say if there are like 10 or 12 skills, you need to be a master in one or two skills, and you need to have good understanding of a large number of other skills, right? Example, you can be a very good in design and business, but you should be having a good bit of understanding towards analytics, towards user research, towards growth marketing, AI, ML, data science, right? Emerging trends, some bit of understanding of system design, right? And it can be vice versa also. You can be a very good PM with a background in AI ML. You would have worked as an AI ML engineer, uh, but you're not that much good towards customer experience or user design or analytics. It's okay. I mean, you can balance it out, right? Similarly, for if you are a B2C PM, it's great. It's great to go in depth of B2C, but also have some bit of understanding of how platform products work, how SaaS-based products work, how B2B product works, how open APIs works, right? Yeah. Okay. Tech understanding. Yeah. So I do get a lot of questions, especially with respect to technology, wherein I am asked that whether product managers need to know how to code. So my simple answer is no. Nobody is expecting you to code, but you need to understand technology. I would say how technology works, how various systems works, how various systems speak to each other. That is very important. How front end speaks to back end. How, let's say, if you are building up a feature wherein all the data for the feature which you are proposing would come from, right? Whether your system would be storing that data, or that you have a dependency on some other system, right? So it's important for you to have a working knowledge and a business understanding of technology. That is something. And believe me, guys, I've heard in industries, even the folks who are working as CTOs, and they have never worked or have never coded, right, in their life. So I mean, it's very important for you to understand technology as compared to coding, right? So how do you go about mastering technology? So learn about, there's a lot, there's the ocean. So I would like to say, don't get drowned in it. Learn basic concept about APIs. What are APIs? How do APIs work? What are the standard APIs? What are REST APIs? The important tech stack. What is the LAMP stack? What is the MERN stack, mean stack? System design becomes quite important, right? How does system design works? How does and I think you can take examples of companies like cross sectors, whether it's a social media company or a video streaming platform like Netflix, or an e-commerce company like Amazon. How does their system design works, right? Now, understanding fair bit of technology will help you in bettering your working relationship with the developers and QAs, right? And I think there's a very good book just launched some time ago by Deepak Singh. He's a product leader himself. He's written this book called Tech Simplified for PMs and Entrepreneurs, and I can assure you this is a one-stop solution for all your worries about tech understanding. You can go grab this book, read it. Okay, domain knowledge. Yeah. So see now what's happening and what are the emerging trends coming in product management is that earlier, it was very easy for product managers to shift industries, right? So let's say e-commerce PM can work in a other company like uh, uh, a fintech company or a gaming company, and vice versa. But now what's happening is that niche skills are being required, especially for two industries, fintech and gaming, right? So if you want to build a career in fintech, very specialized skill set is required in addition to the normal product management skill set, the normal acumen of data driven decision problem solving, customer facing approach. You require certain other skill set as well, right? So if you guys are interested in getting into fintech or gaming, or I would say even in any particular industry, please also try to learn about that industry, right? Read industry reports. If you want to get into fintech, always keep an eye on what are the new regulations which are coming in, right? How is the industry moving? What are the new technologies which are coming in? UPI, what is tokenization? Uh, Sorry, then how is blockchain affecting? What are cryptocurrencies? What is DeFi's? What are NFTs? What are smart contracts, right? So do learn about the trends and technologies shaping your industry. Understand the various practices and processes, specific to your industry. This is quite important. Okay. Yeah. So analytical mindset and data driven. Yep. So I think again a very important skill. So as a product manager, you need to be data informed. Every decision which you take needs to be backed by data, right? And I'm not saying you need to be data driven. I mean, there will always be a tussle, and you have to maintain a balance between intuition and data, and what is the industry trend looking like. But do keep data in the background. Do know about what your data is telling the story about, and then always take a decision, right? uh, it's very important for you to be metric driven, right? So every I would say every feature which you want to roll it out, always think of how are you going to measure the success of it. Always define the success metrics, and there can be multiple metrics uh, associated with the product. Try to identify what is your North Star metric, right? And what are the different some metrics which can help you achieve that North Star metric, right? Bring data in every argument. Let's say if you want to, propose a business case for a product which actually is actually solving a very great problem. It is also close to your heart, but it is very resource intensive, and you need to build up a case for this so that you can bring it up to the higher management, get their approval. Everybody is going to ask you about what's going to be the business impact, right? So always bring data, always help prepare some kind of a business plan, some kind of a projections, right? And I think from the skills perspective, it is becoming quite important for our product managers to know SQL, right? So at least try to know basic level of SQL queries, and it's a very simple analytical programming language, and anybody can easily learn it. So do try to lay some emphasis on learning SQL. What happens is that it basically helps you to not getting dependent too much on your data analytical person for day-to-day activities. You can yourself, use SQL for querying and for building up a case, right? Apart from this, analytical tools, Google Analytics, Adobe Analytics, get to know them. Uh, Experimentation is quite important. So learn experimentation, learn about A/B testing, tools like Optimizely. Similarly, Learn about hypothesis validation. How do you validate each an idea which you want to solve, which you want to build, right? Learn about assumption testing, how it is done, right? Okay, the next skill is again, this is also important, ruthless prioritization, right? So guys, believe me, you have to prioritize everything, right? I mean, your MVP would be 1/10 of what the features you thought to build initially while you were discovering your product discovery, right? Uh, if you have to meet and launch a product faster, and it's always advisable to launch a product faster so that you can learn from market and then keep on iterating on it, you have to prioritize everything, right? uh, Prioritize on goals, prioritize on the outcomes which you want to pursue. There will be multiple goals. Which one you want to pursue, right? Whether you want to focus on growth, whether you want to focus on new market launches, whether you want to focus on acquisition, acquiring more customer, or engagement, or monetizing. What is the ultimate goal you want to achieve, right? Always prioritize the problems, right? So there will be like multiple problems for you to solve and pick and go forward for. Uh, Always look for the basic sentences. Always pick the problem which has a maximum impact or goal. But when you are doing this kind of a comparison, it also becomes important for you to understand the viability and feasibility of it, right? So prioritize, always try to focus on prioritizing problems, your users, right? Which user persona you want to focus on build and to build your product for. They can be like 4 or 5 different user personas. uh, Within a persona there can be like multiple pain points, right? Which particular pain point you want to focus on. Similarly, solutions, features, you have to prioritize everything. Okay. Again, there are multiple prioritization frameworks like Moscow, RICE, which is stand for reach, impact, confidence, and effort. Then there are like OKR based prioritization, user persona based prioritization. You get better with experience and practice, but always try to get this, some, at least some framework for prioritizing, right? Okay, the next important skill, hard skill, would be to think big. Uh, think about 10x impact, right? Focus on 10x impact and 10% improvement. And this will help you in prioritizing your project. And this is very true if you're working as a PM in organization like Amazon or Meta or Microsoft. So guys, therein, somebody was telling me, a senior leader of product in Microsoft, that they actually kill a product if the number of users for that product decreases, and comes down from a 1 million mark, right? Which can be a huge number for an Indian company, right? So there is always focus on these organizations on building products which can lead to a 10x impact, right? Now, how do you go about building that 10x thinking framework or mindset? So please understand the key trends in technology which are shaping and which are disrupting the world, right? So metaverse is open APIs, embedded products, blockchain, integrations with various other products, right? I mean, these are few trends which are shaping up the industry and disrupting industries, right? Creator economy, short videos, I mean, a lot of other things. Okay. Yes. Now, especially for folks who are aspiring a PM or a PM job, execution is the key. You need to get things done. I mean, the rest of the things is okay, but until and unless you're not moving things, not shipping, then it's a problem, right? So, how do you master it? Obviously, you have to be always proactive in your approach. Always think of dependencies and how you can resolve them. Always you need to align with other teams, other product teams, other packs, right? Always think of how you can preempt blockers. Always try to focus on that you always build up the momentum, and it should not get paused for a while, right? It's very important. Okay. So affinity to feedback loops and iterations, right? So as a PM, always focus on gathering feedback and iterating and learning from that feedback, and then iterating on the next version of your product based on the feedback which you have gathered, right? So you need to get your hands dirty. You need to build in the feedback loops within your product journey. I mean, you have to make sure that how can you automate the process of taking customer feedback, either through app reviews or surveys, or asking the customers to provide their feedback, right? And take that feedback and iterate upon, right? So this approach of launch, test, take feedback, iterate, this whole cycle should keep on going, so that you can on an iteration basis keep on improving your product, right? Always remember, uh, not a single product or a good product is built in the first time. Product always evolve over time. Okay, writing, yes. So I think nowadays business writing is also becoming very, very crucial for product managers, especially if you're working in a large MNCs, right? Now, Amazon has a very good writing culture with concept notes and press release FAQs or PR FAQs, wherein product managers, they actually write down documents and their ideas, and they circulate it within the higher ups, and everybody comment on that document, provide their feedback, and this is how you improve, right? Your product, right? So get into the habit of writing concept notes, on writing PRDs, product requirement documents, specs. Don't shy away with the from putting in the effort, right? Don't and I always believe that you should not go into a meeting and just speak things in the air. Always go with some proper planning, with a either a concept note which you can talk about. Always share it across the meetings stakeholders prior to the meeting, so that they can also read and provide and have a you have a better efficient meeting, right? So I think how can you get better with it? Better with writing is something I think you can develop a habit of writing regularly in your everyday life, right? I mean, there are like currently a lot of opportunities, guys. LinkedIn posts, blogs, newsletter, you can start on your own, right? Okay, so now I think we have covered the most of the soft skills, and there are few. Sorry, we have covered most of the hard skills, and there are few soft skills which I also want to focus upon, because especially for product managers, what happens is that we always get overwhelmed with the plethora of hard skills, right? That we always forget about soft skills, right? And I think as you move up the ladder in your career traction from as senior PM and above, which traction, as you become group PMs or directors or VP product or CPO, the soft skills matter more than the hard skills, right? So one of the most important soft skill is storytelling, guys. So it's very important. PMs need to be very good in storytelling, and I'll tell you why. Because again, resources are always in a crunch, right? They will never be in abundant, right? You will always have to fight for resources for your product, your project, whether it is funding, whether it is engineer, whether it is front-end engineers, whether it is back-end team engineer, whether it is QAs, right? So you have to be the salesperson of your idea, of your product, right? You have to sell your ideas not only to the stakeholders, management for their buy-in, your boss, but also to engineers, also to designers. How you have to motivate them, right? Because ultimately you have to get work done from them, right? You have to make sure that designers give their best while designing the customer experience. Engineers give their best while they're developing the solution, right? So learn to become a good speaker, grab speaking opportunities outside your area of work. Okay, stakeholder management. Yeah, this is a super critical skill as you move up the ladder, right? So see, what happens is that in an organization, there will be like multiple teams across various functions, and a product manager has to keep everybody informed and take their opinions as well as their feedback. And if you have to, sorry, work on your product, it's becomes super important for you to manage multiple stakeholders, right? So I think the most important step here is that how do you go about mastering it, right? So whenever you join an organization as a new PM, try to set up one-on-one calls with multiple stakeholders, right? Uh, Try to understand about the business, the product, the various engineering functions, how various teams functions. Uh, Identify your stakeholders across function. Maintain an Excel sheet with the list of stakeholders. Now, when I say stakeholders across function, you need to think business, product, engineering, research, design, analytics, sales, finance, customer support, growth marketing, right? You need to schedule one-on-ones with them on a regular cadence. So one-on-ones are basically catch-ups or meetings scheduled on a time frame of 30 minutes on a regular cadence. It again depends upon the importance of the stakeholder and the nature of the phase of the product which you are currently in. At a particular phase, you may require the input as well as you need to update the particular stakeholder multiple times than other stakeholders. So you can keep it on weekly basis. Then when you feel that that you can actually spread it over, then you can even spread it over to two weekly kind of a meeting or a monthly kind of a cadence, right? Depending upon the importance of stakeholder to your project, right? It's become very important for you to share updates with them, ask for their input, ask for blockers, right? And super critical for managing any kind of unexpected escalations, right? You don't want to hear that a business representative of yours tell in a higher up meeting that he's not aware of what you are doing, right? Or what kind of a product is being launched. So you have to manage your stakeholders and keep them informed and updated, right? Okay, so leadership. So see, my personal belief is that every product manager, right from APM to CPO, is a leader, right? Irrespective of designation or people management, right? You will be the product owner of your squad and back. You will be the owner of your product, right? And you have to lead teams, right? So generally, how things get executed in product companies is that there will be a squad or a pack of cross-functional stakeholders. There will be one stakeholder from product who will be leading the product for that pack, one from design associated with it, research, engineering manager, engineers, front-end devs, QAs, SRE, analytics, dedicated, right? So you would be leading that pack from product perspective, right? Now, you have to learn to lead with influence, right? Because guys, you will never get the authority, right? You will never get there will never be a scenario, especially in large companies, wherein designers will be reporting to you or engineers will be reporting directly to you, right? They will be reporting to their vertical heads, right? So how do you lead with influence, right? So I think it's very important for you to be open to ideas and feedback from any colleague, right? Always be open for their suggestions, right? Give credit to team members for all the good things, right? Engineers and designers. And whenever there is some bad thing which is happening or things are going south, always be the one to take the blame, and always shield your engineers and designers, okay? Not only from management wrath but also from scope creep, right? Because once you get into industry, you will feel and you will analyze that you know if even if you have frozen the requirements, sometimes due to unforeseen circumstances, scope creep or additional features get request you would be getting all those requests. So you need to shield and protect your engineers and designers, and then only they will be respecting you. And I always say that try to learn more about their craft as well. Try to know, understand about technology, understand about design, so that you will be able to better gel with your stakeholders. Okay, ownership. Yep. So PM needs to have a sense of ownership. Everything related to your product is your responsibility, right? Never say this is not my job. Be ready to do mundane work, guys. Myself, I do copy changes. Look for uh, run after people for status updates. Uh, it's your job, right? Always try to preempt and solve blockers, right? PMs need to strive daily to make sure the timelines are met, right? Whether it's a research project you're doing or design one or a discovery task or a delivery task. Yep. Okay. Another important thing is ability to say no. And I think this is also a very important skill. PMs should learn how to say no. So guys, you will be getting a lot of feature requests, not only right from CEO to your boss, to your CPO, to the business stakeholders, to engineering team, to customer support team. Now, it's very important for you to, uh, you know, understand how to tackle all these situations, right? And I think it's an art, right? You can't just directly say no to every feature request. It's offensive and it's also not right. So important is that you listen to these feature request feedback from different stakeholders, whether it's a business team or sales team telling you that, why don't we quickly take this feature live within the middle of a sprint. This will have that much of business impact, right? So always ask them questions that why do you think this feature is important? Ask them to bring data, because a lot of these feature requests will come from some intuition or some idea which this particular stakeholder would have got, right? Always put the customer interest first. This is sacrosanct. Don't let scope creep affect your current sprint. You have to protect your engineers, right? Now, if you feel the feature request is not P0, it's not super important, communicate to that stakeholder that their request is a part of the backlog, and you will definitely take that request as part of the prioritization exercise which we do. Keep them informed about any update. Keep them updated about what's happening with the request. So this is the way in which you learn the art of saying no. Okay, communication. Yeah. I think especially communication is important, especially for PMs working in large organizations with global offices and multiple time zones, teams spread across global offices, right? It's very important that you communicate well via email, via Slack channels, via all hands meeting, or you call up a product briefing meeting where you brief a large pack of audience with multiple stakeholders on your project. What is the project all about? What is the product all about, which you are working for? uh, Keep them updated, right? Regularly update your different stakeholders on the progress, right? You always have to, especially in a large organization with multiple priorities, you always have to focus on building up the momentum, right? uh, Update your OKRs and plans for the next quarter to your stakeholders across engineering, research, design. Communicate any changes in your product, service, APIs to the consumers. I think this is super important, right? For example, let's say if you are working as a PM for an order management system or a payment system, right? And this payment system is being consumed by 10 different product teams within your organization. And you did some change in the payment API or any kind of other change, right? Guys, you need to plan for these changes. You cannot do these changes in silos. You need to communicate it to across the organization, various teams across the organization, right? Okay, sense of curiosity. Yep. So I think PMs need to be curious and eager to learn new things, right? So be aware of the multiple product and engineering verticals in your company. You will get awed by it, but it's very important. It will come up handy. You should know that for any particular flow or product area or service line, who is the product rep for that, who is the engineering rep for that, right? Be curious about new trends and technologies shaping your industry. Learn and read every day, right? Try to be a lifelong learner. Team player, yeah. So collaboration is the key. You have to strive to become a team player. No good product is built alone by the PM, right? So it's very important for us to understand that it is the product team which matters and not the PM, right? The PM alone cannot build a good product. He cannot build or launch even a single product, right? Alone, right? So guys, a product team means a user researcher person, a designer, engineers, both front end, back end, QA, analytics, and PM, right? Uh, you need to involve your engineers right from the product discovery aspect. When you are discovering what you need to build and why you need to build, take their inputs, take their suggestions, right? Always share the why part of it with the team members, so that they also feel motivated by the project which they're working on, and always share the results of the product or features which you launch with the team members, right? This motivates them. Okay, so I think we are at the last of our presentation and talk for today. So the last topic is what skills matter most at various PM career levels. And I think this is the best resource that you can find for this topic, and all credits to Ravi Mehta. He's a senior product leader. Uh, so as we can see from here, uh, there are multiple PM career levels. It starts from APM, Associate Product Manager. The next career level is a PM or a product manager, then a senior PM, then a group PM. From group PM onwards, you start you start managing people, product managers, as well as you also contribute on an individual capacity basis to handle some key products individually also. Then there is a director, senior director, VP, and CPO. It's more of a people management role from director, senior director onwards. So guys, from especially for APM and PM, execution is the most important skills to have, right? Product craft, problem solving, executing things, data driven decision making, all the most of the hard skills, and some of the, I would say, some of the soft skills is very important, right? As you become a senior PM, you start contributing towards in the strategy, also in the product discovery aspect also. When you are an APM and even at a PM, guys, you would be told what to do, right? There will be a senior PM and you will be shadowing him, and he would be actually leading the discovery process, and he will be telling you this needs to be done, and you would be helping in the execution of things, right? From senior PM onwards, you tend to work towards strategy, work towards discovering things, towards getting that management buy-in for your projects always, right? From GPM and above level onwards, you start contributing towards the product strategy, the vision, start managing people, right? Start hiring and building teams. And up to the CPO, VP and CPO level, you apart from contributing to the strategy and people management, you focus on building the right product practices and teams and structures within the organization. Yeah. Guys, that's it for today. So in case of any queries, feel free to reach me across various modes. I am available at LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube at following channels. And please do follow me, and looking forward to your queries now.
Thank you, Sahil, for that brilliant session. And as you can see, we already have many questions lined up for you. So in view of the time constraints, we'll take as many as possible.
Sure.
So audience, a quick reminder. Let me share my screen quickly. Okay, so you can ask your questions on Zoom in the Q&A section, or you can ask your question live, where you can raise your hand and I can unmute you and get your queries discussed with Sahil directly online. So taking the first question here from the Q&A window. Okay, this is from Nripendra Kumar. Thanks, Sahil, for explaining all the core hard and soft skills required to become PM and how to acquire that skills. But to be successful in PM's role, it's very important to be a company fit or culture fit. How can we identify which company is the best fit for me?
Sure. So yeah, Nripendra, yeah, definitely. I think this is not only for a PM, but for in career in general. And I think if you are aspiring even for an engineering manager or a data scientist or a growth hacker, right? I think company fit is super important when you're planning your career, right? It's a marathon, right? So I think how do you go about is doing your research, right? I mean, it's as simple as Googling it to connecting it with past and current employees. Try to identify what is the culture, whether it's a very intensive culture. And I think there is no harm, right? I mean, we all have different priorities. Some of us want a work-life balance. Some of us wants a very high, fast-moving culture, very high rewarding culture. I think there are companies across all these aspects, and you need to identify what kind of a culture attracts you the best, right? So I think that is the way within which you can go forward to about it, by asking the team members, the current employees, the past employees. And I think another important factor which matters even within a organization is, because the organizations are very huge. What team are you going into, right? Which geography, which particular office you are working for? Are you working for Google India office or US office or Hyderabad office, right? So I mean, you also, whenever you are doing your research, please also research about these things, especially the team.
Okay, so Nupendra, I hope that answers your question. Now coming to the next one, this is from Anand. What is the best method to identify the drivers for roadmap definition?
Yeah. So see, there are multiple ways you can drive your roadmap. And I think the best way is to have an OKR based approach, right? So guys, I mean, it will be, it's a whole new topic and altogether. So I can't just deep dive much more here due to the paucity of time, but always have an outcome based roadmap, wherein your roadmap is not only prioritizing just simple output or feature launches, but also outcome, also the business impact, right? So my short answer would be having an OKR based roadmap. Yeah.
This next question is from Udaya. Is it better to be an APM in a big company like Flipkart or be a PM at a startup?
Whoa. So guys, I think both will have their own pros and cons, right? And I think firstly, we should strive to get an offer. And thankfully, if we have multiple offers, then we need to try to evaluate those offers. For example, an APM at a Flipkart can be a good role if it is in a very good team, right? Which is one of the top priorities of Flipkart. For example, it can be search, or it can be the fintech team, or any new, emerging business line within which Flipkart is focusing upon. And similarly, at a PM at a established or emerging startup can also be a very good role, right? If you are working for that particular team, right? So as I said, that organizations are huge entities. Always try to decipher more details of your role. Which team are you joining, right? Is the role in alignment with your own strengths and career path, right? For example, within Flipkart, within a startup, there will be a B2C PM focusing on consumer products, PMs focusing on the merchant side of things, the supplier side of things, PMs focusing on customer experience tools, PMs focusing on internal products, in internal systems, So, I mean, there will be like a lot of other roles. It all depends upon what your liking is, wherein you want to take your career forward to.
Okay. So this next question, Sahil, is from Vidushi. How do you start to work on your first job as a product manager? How do you get to know that you are doing it right? Since it is a senior position, I'm assuming nobody is going to give you any on-the-job training.
Yeah. So see, definitely, I think, and that's where courses like Institute of Product Leadership and other courses in journal, fit in, right? You have to get, and I think nowadays the competition is so tough, and even the expectation is also tough, right? Especially if you're joining a startup, even if an APM role, they will expect you to deliver, right? That's why I focus more on the product craft aspect in my presentation, right? So you have to get your craft, in good shape, right? Build a product portfolio, try to learn, right? I mean, if you already know, if you can already know let's say if you're joining as an APN, if you already know the right way of discovery, right? Wireframing, solutioning, how you map, how to approach problem solving, right? I mean, half of the work is always done. But believe me, guys, you need to ask for help, right? And don't assume that there'll be nobody to help you, right? And especially as an APM and an entry-level PM, expectations from you would not be to that you can, move things in silo. There will always be someone to whom you would be reporting to, a senior level PM or a director PM who would be helping you out. So I mean, apart from scaling up, the only suggestion I would give you is ask for help.
Okay, so audience, please feel free to post your comments in the chat window so we know we have answered your queries. Now, speaking of product portfolio, Sahil, you just mentioned that in your answer. So there's a question from Ridhima. How could you suggest how and what all we could curate in a product portfolio, if you could just give a general idea?
Sure. So Ridhima, there can be multiple things which should be the part of your product portfolio, right from product tear downs. Take up any good product and do a tear down of it, whether it is LinkedIn or a Spotify, which you use in journal, right? Then a case study wherein you are improving upon some products. So you can similarly, you can take upon any kind of product which you use and try solving that case study problem, which is very much asked in interviews. Are you going to improve WhatsApp, or how are you going to improve LinkedIn, right? Show your structured approach in that case study. Then from the market research, market sizing problems, try to prepare an Excel sheet wherein you are estimating a market size. For example, you are estimating the size of carpool market in India as a Uber PM, right, which can show your analytical skills. Then take up few wireframing case studies, take up few prototyping case studies, build up a roadmap, right? Try to solve a problem end to end, right? And the classic, I think to add to that, you can also take up another big problem and build up a huge, which can be basically a longer term project also for you to showcase, which can be that, let's say if you join, if as a PM in a startup, how would you build up a grocery e-commerce company from scratch, right? I mean, these kind of a open-ended, I'm sure it will take a lot of time of yours, but these kind of case studies also you can prepare and make it as a part of your portfolio.
Great. Sahil, I know we are beyond time, and is it okay if I take two more questions?
Sure, please go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. So this question is from Dulapo. He's from Nigeria. His question is, how do we marry product management and project management together, or does it not sit together at all?
Sure.
Because I'm having this hard time digesting the information online concerning both.
Sure. So see, again, this will depend upon company to a company. If you are joining in very early stage startup, you are a PM is a one-man show. You will be the one who will be focusing on product strategy. You are the product owner also, and you would be managing the delivery part of it also in terms of project management, program management, and sometimes I've heard PM also run scrums, right? But if you are joining an established company, therein or a large MNC, like a large company like Flipkart, or a large MNC like OLX or Amazon or Facebook, therein you have multiple roles, right? There will be a product strategy manager or a product manager who only focuses on the product strategy part of it, and then works together with a program manager or an engineering manager towards the execution. And therein the product manager's work is more aligned toward discovering and solving the what and why for it. And for the how part of it, he takes the help of engineering manager. The project management part of it is equally split between product manager and the engineering manager. They combinedly manage the project management part of it. And if there is a program manager, technical program manager within your organization, then delivery is actually their most important KRAs. So I mean, it all depends upon the organization which you join. There can be multiple roles, but you need to understand it that project management is one subset of the larger level of areas of responsibilities which a product manager has. Let's say if a product manager has 10 different areas of responsibilities, probably 2 or 3 would be overlapping with a project manager. Yeah.
Okay, we'll conclude this with this one question from Pawan, and there are a few more circling around the same, theme of the question. So, with 4 years of experience as full stack web development and an interest towards product management, can you please suggest how I can start working towards being a successful global product manager?
Sure. So sorry, I forgot the name of the person.
Pawan.
Okay. So Pawan, see, I think for you, currently the most important problem to solve would be to break into product management, right? I mean, whether it's solving for India or solving for global plus India or solving for global or solving for XYZ market, that doesn't matter, right? Try to break into product management, right? And I think there can be 2 parts of it. Let's say if you are already working in a global company like Amazon or Microsoft, try to develop these product skills, try to work closely with the product team, all right, extend your helping hand to them. And I've seen a lot of even engineers in organizations like Microsoft and Amazon, all global organizations, they transition between teams, right? They move from being a web developer like you, in your case, to an APM kind of a role or a product analyst kind of a role, which are the stepping stones to a product, right? Now that can be one way. Another way can be that, if you are feeling that, the large organization, and it's always very difficult to get a, global PM kind of a role in a large organization, then, you need to take it slow. All focus on getting into product management first, sharpening your craft, join a startup, right, or an India-based company, spend some time there and develop your skills, and then move for and aspire for all the fangs of the world. Yeah.
All right, then. So, audience, thank you so much for the brilliant questions and the great enthusiasm throughout the session. But in view of the time constraints, we will have to conclude today's Q&A. But please feel free to go ahead and scan the QR code on the screen and book your 30-minute one-on-one session with our industry experts for any further questions. Giving you a moment here to scan the QR code. We have enjoyed having you with us, Sahil. It's been a complete pleasure. We are grateful for the time and effort you took to share your thoughts, and this session was really brilliant. And you can see the comments in the chat window as well, all the positive feedbacks and reviews. So please accept this certificate of appreciation.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And I'd like to thank Institute of Product Leadership for giving me this opportunity. And I myself enjoyed a lot interacting with all of you aspiring and current product managers. Feel free to reach out to me in case of any queries. Thank you so much. I really loved the session.
Thank you once again, Sahil. And thank you, audience, for joining in and making this session a huge success. So product management is not a subject that we can get answers to within an hour. Hence, we have made various platforms available for you to reach out to us. Please check out the slide or the links in the chat window and post your questions, and we'll be more than willing to answer them. With that note, thank you all for joining again, and happy learning and stay skilled. Have a great night. Thank you, Sahil.
Thank you.